Hi guys, I'm Norman. Welcome to my channel. As a life coach and as an entrepreneur myself, I learned there are things that are essential before you start succeeding, flourishing in your business. When you start the business, it's all about you. So you have to invest in yourself. It's not necessarily a financial investment, but it's your time and energy investment. In this video, I'm going to cover what I noticed to be essential in creating your business. Number one, rest well. It's so important, guys. Most of us learned how to complete the tasks that we have by working hard without resting. And we don't even know how resting means to us, because when we think about resting, it's about stimulating yourself with different kind of activities that we don't consider as work. Things like social media, or things like going out with friends, or even watching TV that makes our brain busy. Resting means meditating. Resting means being in the nature, having enough sleep. I'm reading this book called Beyond Anxiety by Martha Bex. It said something interesting that's related with resting. It's not as easy, but try doing this. It says, you may not be able to slow down your own anxiety at first, because what happens when you consciously try to rest, your brain goes anxious. Your brain says, do this and do that, because that's what we have learned to do from a very young age. And it said, but if you set an intention to observe your anxiety without trying to change it, you will start to recognize the sharp kick of fear impulse and notice how it increases the momentum of your frightening thoughts. So when you set an intention to rest, you're gonna realize that it is awfully difficult, because your brain's gonna say, do this and do that, do this and do that, and then you will start fighting with it. You're gonna start saying, hey, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, oh my God, I can't stop thinking about it. There is a fight between your thoughts and you. And so what I just read suggests, try being an observer without fighting your thoughts. Just think about, this is what I'm thinking, and then you will realize this is nothing but just an fear impulse, and it's gonna be gone within seconds. And if you can master that, this is the well-deserved rest. And also sleep enough, because we are so sleep deprived. Point number 2 is, don't waste your time trying to be unique. I know we've been told so many times that we should be unique. We need to express our own authentic voice. We have to speak up. We have to be your own self, which is completely unique. And the business idea has to be completely fresh, new, that nobody ever done it before. I would suggest that's not what unique means. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Everything already exists throughout the thousands and thousands of years. We can choose what resonates with us the most from the existing options, and then process it through our unique experience. Make it your own by your own lived experience, and how you interpret it becomes absolutely unique. Coaching is not new, but because I am asking the questions that already exist in a way that I believe to be authentic to me, is unique enough. So if you have a business idea and if you're worried that it already exists, don't worry about it. just because you're doing it, it's unique enough. Just a few weeks ago, I watched a podcast where Evie Pomperos was the guest. And she is a former special agent and also a motivational speaker and an author of the best-selling book called Becoming Bulletproof. And one thing that she said stood out to me, it was, you're not special. Nobody is special. One thing that makes us stuck is thinking that you are special. It speaks to me so well because I thought I was special. And when I reflected on this idea, because I thought I was special, I put an unrealistic expectation of who I should be. And when I thought I'm not special at all, I'm just a regular person, I had a huge relief. The third point I want to mention is less preparations and more actions. At work, we have this amazing idea, but because we don't communicate it, because we don't let it air, because we keep it to ourselves, or because we keep it on the laptop or in our small room, somebody else grabs the idea and we just say, I thought about this idea. Because when there is a time for an idea to come into life, somebody has to do it, but somebody has to do it right away because this is the time. I learned it from the book called The Creative Act, A Way of Being. And this book was amazing how everybody is creative and then the ideas just come to you unexpectedly. And while you're processing and preparing, somebody else can take it and make it their own, number one. And number two, I also listened to a podcast. There's an amazing message told by Mark Randolph, who is one of the founders of Netflix. He said what made us successful is quick testing. He didn't even have to think too much. He didn't have to make it ideal. He just had to test it. If idea is great, it's going to work no matter what the quality is. If you do a mistake, if it doesn't work, nobody else cares. But because we have this negativity bias that says you have to do a good job, we're actually wasting our time. And I think Mark Randolph is very good at speaking out loud that this is the way to go. Point number 4, I want to offer you a coaching framework. Think about where you are, where you want to be. Define those very, very clearly. Where you are right now, what are the opportunities you have, what are the achievements you had, what are the tools you can utilize, where you are now, it can be anything, and where you want to be. How your dream life looks like, how your dream business looks like, and what can get on the way for you to achieve. Ask 3 simple questions and ask it as frequently as possible. For example, for me, I noticed that I cannot do too many one-to-one sessions per day. I don't have the energy and resources to pay full attention for 5 solid hours. I can do only 3. So I realized I want to be able to have 3 clients per day maximum. And I also said, what can get on the way? What are the ways I can get there? And what can get on the way is mostly our anxiety, our thoughts, our self-limiting beliefs. Our brains are usually hard-coded into believing that we are not capable of achieving what we want to achieve. But that is completely untrue. In fact, the opposite of true. You are fully capable. And if you think, oh, I'm not good at talking to people, you are good with talking with people. That is the truth. Fifth and last point I want to say is reflect on your work as often as you can. Maybe reflect on yourself on a weekly basis. The beginning stage of an entrepreneurship, beginning stage of a business is the hardest stage because the knowledge that you gathered in that specific area is very limited. Everything is new to you, and also you're overcoming all the challenges that you have within yourself. That's why it takes a long time. And it feels like you haven't done anything, you haven't achieved anything, you didn't set the financial goal. But the reality of it is there is so much progress that goes unnoticeable. If you haven't done any reflection, if you haven't done any of this journaling and evidences of your improvements, in 6 months' time, you will have a voice that says, well, you haven't done anything for last 6 months. You're wasting your time. This idea is not going to work. But if you're going to reflect weekly, you will have a list of evidences of how you progressed, and you realize there were so many new things that you have learned. And if you do it on a weekly basis, slowly and gradually, you are progressing. And it's going to be very clear if you reflect on it on a weekly basis. I believe all this information was useful. And once again, I'm Naumin. I'm a life coach. And please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in my next video.